Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ball League recordings that the Southern Islands are doing for this season. So right here we're looking at the Great Ball League, which has happened at Bricks Play, which is near Toa Payoh in Singapore. I believe they have the casuals every Friday and Saturday. So if you're around the area and looking for a place to play Pokemon, do check them out. So here we have Cash, one of the well-known, I think, Singaporean players, versus Darwin, who's no stranger to the top cut as well. Cash is playing his signature, Terrazard, and Darwin is going back to his roots. He was seen actually to play Goldango, I believe, in the previous Premier Ball League. But here, he used to actually play a lot of Lost Zone Box. So now I'm really excited to see which version of Lost Zone Box he is currently playing. So Lost Zone Box has fallen off the radar, I think, in SV7 because of the rise of the introduction, of Kyurem and Regidrago playing Kyurem, right? So there was a lot of fear, I think, for the Lost Zone Box players in terms of playing the deck, because as long as they have a Colress in the discard pile, Kyurem can attack for free. Right, and Kyurem's Triforce attack does 110 damage to 3 Pokemon. And the thing is that, with 3 Pokemon with 110 HP or less, you're basically knocking out you're taking 3 prizes from a Lost Zone Box, right? Yes, Manaphy can be played, but at the same time, if there's a Canceling Cologne being used from the side of the Regidrago, that is absolutely useless for the Lost Zone Box player. And, eventually it just really go to crap. So, taking a look, I think both players have started off. This is really good for Cash. He is looking to start first. He's doing his typical deck checks, making sure that he has all the resources that he needs. I believe he did use an Ultra Ball to get rid of a Dusknoir, as well as a Fire Energy, both of which which you can pick back up either with a Super Rod or a Night Stretcher. So, Ultra Ball, these 2 choices is perfect. Typically, as someone who's going against a Lost Zone Box player, I will be looking to kind of front the first turn with a Pokemon with 110 HP or more, so that the Lost Zone Box player can't just take a free prize with that Cramorant. So, but the thing is that Darwin does see the does have the Blood Moon Ursaluna kind of stuck in the front. He does, Lost Zone Box typically does play a lot of switch outs, so he should be able to switch this one out. But Cash is taking the risk, decides, hey, look, he may not have that switch out, or rather the additional switch out to push the Cramorant into the front. So he will be content with leaving his Pidgeot on the board and just drawing 3, I believe, from that Rotom earlier. Darwin having a phenomenal start, Buddy Poffin into the 2 Comfeys. For those of you who aren't aware, Comfey with the flower selecting ability allows you to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose one and put the other one in the Lost Zone. So Darwin, we do see him play that switch option for the first flower selecting. Very easy choice, throws the nest ball inside, uses the Pokegear, he wants to find the Colress, he finds that Colress. Colress research does, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you can put 3 into your hand and 2 into the Lost Zone, which accelerates decks like this Lost Zone deck, which accelerates Lost Zone decks who wants cards in the Lost Zone to really to the next level, right? So he puts the TM Devolution as well as the Manaphy being completely useless this turn for this game. Devo, though, would rather actually see the Devo in his hand, but the other option must be even more important. We do see him use the second switch to find that to push it out of Comfy up to the top to put him into 4 cards in the Lost Zone, which allows Lost Provisions from the Cramorant to activate. Lost Provision states that you can, I believe, you can't attack for free. This card has attack cost 0, right? As long as you have 4 cards in the Lost Zone. But strangely enough, he finds a 3rd Comfey, which actually signifies here that he probably prized either 1 or 2 Cramorants, which is really, really bad for the side of Darwin. Because ideally you do want to take this knockout on the Pidgey to prevent Cash from having his engine on the board. But this is 7 in the Lost Zone already in turn 2, which is massive. Unfortunately, he does not have any kind of Mirage Gate or Greninja or any Pokemon that can attack with just 2 energy costs, so he just has to pass here, which is atrocious coming out from the side of Darwin. He must not be happy here. Seeing how he kind of just whiffed that attack, when he had everything else going on for him. This is so unfortunate to see, but we do see Cash using Armor to find the red candy. Does not find the Forest Seal Stone, I believe. So Forest Seal Stone must be prized. So we do see Pidgeot just using the quick search to find the Buddy Poffin for the 2 Charmanders, ensuring that Cash has his side of the board set up at this point in time, which is what he is looking for, seeing that his opponent doesn't have any kind of alternate attack here on the board right now. We do see him benching 2 Duskulls, which is a little bit strange. I was expecting to actually see something like Manaphy come down to prevent kind of a double snipe or a single snipe coming out from the Greninja. If Darwin does play the Greninja inside here, we still don't know what version of Lost Box he's playing. We don't know if he's playing maybe the Sablezard version that he was kind of talking about, or if he was playing the Pikachu version, which has seen rise in popularity here. We do see, I believe, that is 9 cards in the Lost Zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry, there's 10 cards in the Lost Zone. So Sableye will be able to use Lost Mine to put 12 damage counters on his opponent's side of the Pokemon, on his opponent's side of the field. We do see him kill 2 Duskulls, which is not what Cash wants to see on his side. Benching 260 HP Pokemon on his side. Basically, you know, it is calling out for a situation like this, which is a huge, I think, misplay, or at least Cash was not expecting to see 10 cards in the Lost Zone so early. Seems like Darwin is playing some sort of a turbo version for Lost Box right here, so we do see a reset stamp. This is going to hurt Darwin quite a bit. Sableye being stuck in the front right now means that he will need to burn 1 switch out to push out the Comfey. So Darwin still has a lot of switch outs though. He only used, I believe, 2 so far, so there should still be 6 more in the deck. So if he, oh sorry, I see 3, so that means we should see 5 more in the deck. So you know, there's plenty of switch options for him to switch out and just use, keep using flower selecting for the subsequent Comfeys. But Cash is not gonna relent. He is probably gonna evolve his Zard. Yep, he evolves his Zard right now. That's his first Charizard on the field, so that is going to be an effective attacker at this point in time. So Cash sequenced it very well, right? So if you notice, Cash actually evolved his Charizard first to thin out his deck from 2 energies before drawing with the Pheasantipity, right? So what this means is that it guarantees that Cash does not draw into energies, or rather, there's a lesser chance for Cash to draw into energies, which is what I believe he doesn't want to see, right? Because you have Charizard's ability to kind of charge up and thin out the deck of the energies at this point in time. So Cash is using his Arven as there's no there's no necessary supporter for him to play at this point in time. So he just finds another red candy. He's likely not going to use that red candy right now. Afraid of a possible second TM devolution in Darwin's deck. He does manage to evolve the Charmander into the Charmeleon, which puts him in a very, very perfect spot. Even if Darwin does have that TM Devo, right? Because Cash has kind of prepared for this kind of scenario, as he has the red candy in his hand. So if Darwin does use TM Devolution, he can just use that red candy and evolve into his Pidgey into a Pidgeot, or his Charmander into a Charizard. So now it's going back to Darwin's side of the field. He plays at Kara's experiment right now, trying to think, calculating his resources right now. Because if he throws any resource which he actually needs later down the field into the Lost Zone, there is no way for him to take that back, right? So I think Darwin, making sure that he has enough bosses orders. So we do see that fire energy there in his discard as well as his Lost Zone. So this is telling me that he is playing the Sablezard variant of the deck. So we see him play the Mirage Gate, allows you to attach 2 energies from your deck, 2 different types of energies from your deck to any Pokemon in any way you like. But it has to be, you have to have 7 cards in your Lost Zone, right? At this point, Darwin has, I think, some more than 10, so he can definitely play that Mirage Gate. A super powerful card that we're going to unfortunately see rotate in this upcoming rotation. But that's still a good maybe 3 to 5 months of playing this card. So Lost Box players, you still have your tools, you still have your games that you can play. So we do see Darwin playing the Lost Mine, 6 on the Pidgeot, 6 on the Pidgey, 6 on the Pidgeot and 6 on the Charizard. 6 on the Pidgey makes sense because if you use TM Devolution, you can then just immediately KO the Pidgey. But 6 on the Charizard tells me that the way that he's placed it tells me that he does have a second TM Devo, because all he needs to do is place 1 more damage onto that Charizard before using TM Devo to get the kill after using Devo, right? So 1 Devo will effectively allow you to take two prizes right now, which would be huge because at this point in time, Darwin does not have any attacker to take the big knockout on the Charizard, so he has to play in this way. Cash using the Thornton extremely powerful, and utilizing the red candy he picked up just now. So using the Dusknoir to take one prize, or rather to trade prizes, because he's taking that. Because he uses the Dusknoir's Curse Bomb ability to kill the Sableye. So it knocks out your own Pokemon, so that's why Darwin took a prize. And on Cash's side, he takes a prize for taking a knockout on the other side. So yeah, it's basically effective prize trade. Very smart play from Cash, right? So now it also allows Cash to take a knockout on this Blood Moon Ursaluna, which would be able to attack for free. Attack with one energy card, or two energy cards, if he doesn't take the knockout that turn on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Because Blood Moon Ursaluna basically allows you to attack for one less attack cost for every prize your opponent has taken, right? So he has, I think, 5 attack costs, so if your opponent has taken 5 prizes, he's attacking for free. So there we go, we do see that second copy of the TM Devolution in Darwin's hands. He sees this as an opportunity because he knows that Cash has used 3 rare candies already, but his TM Devo is only going to be able to take 1 prize off the back Pidgey. We do see Roxanne as well, which is good. So it disrupts Cash's hand, which was looking pretty big just now. But now it brings it down to just 2 cards, and Darwin gets to see 6 cards, which is massive. So we do see 6 cards being drawn for Darwin. We do see the Radiant Charizard being benched as well. So Darwin may be able to mount a comeback here. We do see Counter Catcher on that Pheasantipity. He is going to take 2 prize cards from this Pheasantipity, with the, I think, Charizard, or he's just going to use TM Devolution. Both methods perfectly fine at this point. Opts to use Pelipet Shuffle back 2 colorless experimentation, which is interesting. I would rather him shuffle back the Roxanne as an additional kind of disruption, but he opts to just aggressively thin out his deck to ensure that he has all the cards that he needs. He is eyeing that Prime Catcher, for a potential game-winning play next turn. And the beauty of this is that Cash has 2 prizes to work from, right? So Cash would need to take 2 knockouts, whereas Darwin just needs to can win in 1 turn because of Cash's Pheasantipity there, and there's no way to get rid of the Pheasantipity since the Thornton has been played already. So I believe. Okay, so Cash can actually take the game here if he uses the Duskull to take a knockout on one of the back Pokemon. So there we go. We see the retreat on the Pheasantipity. We do see the red candy to the storm. The Duskull explodes, and that is the game for Cash. And this is the power of Duskull, right? There is no way that Charizard would have been able to take the game at that point in time if there was no Duskull on the field. The Duskull allows him to effectively take 2 prizes, whereas you don't mind giving 1 prize away because you're going to end that game at that point in time. Without the Duskull, there's no way that you're able to do that. Alright, so this is all for game 1. That was a really good game. Unfortunate for Darwin as he managed to prize, I think, both Cameruns. We saw 2 Cameruns at the end of the day. But that is all for game 1. We'll catch you in the next one. Guys, welcome back to round number 2 of the Great Ball League that happened over at Briggs Play. So here we see a very interesting matchup, decks that we don't really see in the meta too often. So we have Blissey Box as well as Hydreigon EX. Hydreigon EX, one of my personal favorite Pokemon coming into this new SVO8 format. So what Hydreigon does is for 2 energies, so 1 darkness and 1 colorless. You're doing, I believe, 200 damage, and you're milling the top 3 cards off your opponent's deck. And the other attack, Obsidian, does 130 damage to the front and to 2 other targets in your opponent's bench Pokemon. Very strong attack, but it requires 4 energies: 1 dark, 1 metal, 1 psychic, and 1 colorless energy. So what we see Hydreigon usually do is offset that attack with either your upper energy and a counter game. So effectively, all you need is that upper energy and one additional attachment with the counter game. But it comes with a caveat that you're playing from behind. So if that's something that you're used to doing, then Hydreigon seems like the perfect deck for you. On the other hand, Blissey Box, what it allows you to do is it allows you to actually play a myriad of Pokemon, because Blissey allows you to shift energies around your side of the field. A very, very strong utility Pokemon, which also allows you to draw, I believe, 6 cards, I think, with the return attack. I may be wrong on that. So we'll just quickly check on that for you guys back at home. Yes, okay, so there we go. It says 180 attack, and you can go up to 6. I was correct. And with the ability Happy Switch, it allows you to move one basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So if using this, you're actually allowed to utilize your Pokemon's attacks efficiently. And if you're playing Pokemon which require multiple types of energies, you can do so quite easily by shifting the energies around or using another form of energy acceleration. So here you see Hydreigon going first and having a really good start with that Buddy Puffin allowing him to find a second Dino as well as a Pidgey. So and he's just going to have an attack spam pass, which is a perfect setup. Kind of the perfect setup for Hydreigon. Typically, you like to also see a Rotom on the bench, so you can allow you to draw 3 more cards. But this will be absolutely fine as he's just going to pass, and with the Chansey, he knows that Natalie's not going to be able to attack this turn, but he will. So he's quite content just attaching the dark energy to the Dino in the front and just leaving things as it is. Natalie is going to be playing Blissey with that Pikachu EX. Pikachu EX being a very, very, very strong attacker, Resolute Heart. I believe if this Pokemon were to be knocked out, you can put it to 10 HP instead. And also the attack does 300 damage, but you're discarding 3 energies from your from this Pokemon, right? So huge payoff, but huge damage, and typically you're allowed to actually take 2 hits. So it's a very, very efficient attacker, which allows you to also take a hit when other Pokemon typically just die. So it's a really, really good start. Really interesting tactics that Natalie is playing at this point in time. She's just gonna pass. So Jinchen will just go over evolve the Dino to as well as does have that Rotom right now. So he's gonna mention Rotom use that for a Seal Stone. But now instead of popping that for a Seal Stone, he's using the Urban. Urban likely to find a rare candy, I believe, and maybe a counter game. This deck actually plays a lot more tools than you would think. It can potentially play a lot more tools than you think. You can play even the Devolution, you can play the Evil TM Evolution, you could play the counter game, like I mentioned before. Even works with the Mochi coming out from the Short Fable set, which if he does play the Petra EX. But no, so he is just going to find a rare candy using that Urban. Allows him to evolve his Pidgey into a Pidgeot EX, which allows him to activate his Quick Search ability. Once per turn, you're able to find 1 card from your deck and put it into your hand. So very, very, very strong ability. So for those of you who are kind of starting to see similarities, right? The deck plays very similarly to Zard in the sense that you have the Rotom and you have your Rotom Pidgeot engine, so it allows you to draw cards, it allows you to find cards, and you have your main attacker in the Dino or the in the Dragon or the Charizard in this case. So we're going to see Natalie playing that Precious Trolley, which allows her to find as many Pokemon as she wants to fill her bench up, basic Pokemon to fill her bench up. So she is using Precious Trolley to find that Chansey. And she wants the Blissey to be online, finds another Pikachu. So this is a Pikachu EX Blissey combination. Not something that you commonly see, but you can also get energies from your discard your Pokemon using that Glass Trumpet. So that is how this engine is going to run. You have a Glass Trumpet, 2 energies from your discard to your EX Pokemon. If you have a college EX Pokemon, if you're you have a 10 Pokemon on the field, right? So Glass Trumpet's got accelerated energies, and Blissey's are going to be able to shift energies around to your Pikachu, so you're constantly going to be able to attack with Pikachu. I mentioned before, 300 damage is huge. But unfortunately for Natalie, as well as Dragon is just going to neutralize all that, right? Because with Obsidian, she can actually do chip damage to the Pikachu's at the back, as you're likely going to see here. He is going to use he has for Dark Energy, so that is not going to be Obsidian this turn. We do see this being played for the third Dino on the field at this point in time. Will we see? Okay, so we see the Hydreigon appearing at the back as well. So we do see him use the crushing hit, I believe. This cards three cards on your opponent's deck, and this you normally think, oh, well, it's doing 200 damage is not too much, right? Well, yeah, but the thing is that with the discard of three cards on top of the deck, your opponent you're just playing a 60 card deck, right? And the thing is that most of the time they're going to optimize at 60. So three cards on the 60 actually does a lot more than you'd think, because you are discarding three valuable resources. If you discard, let's say, one of your opponent's switch option, if he only plays one switch option, or in this case, the glass trumpet, right? It's gonna hurt. It's really gonna hurt, right? So right here from Natalie, we just see her retreat that Blissey into the Pikachu EX, as we know that he is gonna be able to take one damage. So we're gonna see Obsidian being used by Jinxian. Takes two prizes from the damage Blissey, procs that disables the Pikachu's ability. He chooses the Pikachu EX. Well, that's clearly an error, because Pikachu EX should not be able to take the damage from Obsidian, as Pikachu EX does have the innate terror ability to prevent any damage to the bench Pokemon. So unfortunately, both players did not catch that. And it seems like it's going to be a fairly easy game for Jinxian, as if you're just able to use Obsidian twice like that. It's just going to be 6 prizes, which is kind of unfortunate about how the game ended this way. But for those of you who don't know, there's only one judge that kind of judging 32-player events here, and the judge is not actually looking at the stream table at all times, right? So unfortunately here, this is a case where players have to kind of recognize the mistakes themselves and call it out themselves, or call a judge here. But unfortunately, they just weren't. The game ended, right? So there was no chance for the judge to see that. And since both players didn't recognize that ruling, there wasn't a chance for them. They also called the judge in for a clarification here. So unfortunately, or rather fortunately for Jinxian here, he managed to take the win with 2 Obsidian attacks. And yep, that's pretty much it. We'll see you in the next one. Welcome to game number 3 of the Bricks Play Great Ball League. Here we have Benjamin and Nicholas, both of which were also part of the top cut for the recent Premier Ball League. So here we have Raging Bolt versus Terrapagos EX. Both decks are predominantly 2-prize decks, which focus on just heavy hitting attacks. Terrapagos is a little bit nuanced in terms of what it can do, because it has the Hoot Hoot and the Noctowl, which allows him to search up for 2 trainer cards from his deck, as long as there's a Terra Pokemon on the field. At least when you evolve the Hoot Hoot into a Noctowl, right? So Terrapagos is really, really good. You also have the Unified Beatdown attack, which is for 2 colors energies. You can do 30 times the number of bench Pokemon which you have on your side of the field. So with the Area 0 Underdaps, you can have up to 8 bench Pokemon, which effectively deals for 220 damage with the double turbo energy attack to it, which basically knocks out most of the big basics in the game at this point in time. So in terms of which matchup is favored, I believe the Terrapagos is slightly favored, as you can choose when to put down the Terrapagos and kind of initiate with a full single prize board. So the Raging Bolt wants to take a knockout on your single prizes. He really needs to have everything, right? He needs to basically go a 1-2-2-1 prize map, whereas Nicholas can opt for a 2-2-2 prize map, with bossing out stuff like the Tiamat's Ogre at back, or for example, knocking out the Squawkabilly that's currently on the board right now. So Nicholas has plenty of options with the Terrapagos. So that's why I say Terrapagos is slightly favored in the Bolt. But if the Bolt plays the Slitherwing, then the matchup is a little bit more even. But even then, it's going to be a little bit rough for the Raging Bolt. So here we see just standard stuff for coming up from Benjamin, finding using urban vessels to find energies. We will likely see him use the Squawk and Seize as well to get some of the energies in the discard pile so that he can pick them up later with the Sada or the Night Stretcher or the energy retrieval. So many different retrieval options for Benjamin. Okay, wow, we do see him draw into 2 Raging Bolts from that Conceal Cards ability, as well as the Nest Ball. So he's going to use the Nest Ball to find a Teal'c's Ogerpon, and then he's going to be able to bench the 3, well, he's drew 3 Raging Bolts. He does not need to bench all 3 Raging Bolts, so we just see him benching 2. He'll likely fill that last slot up with either a Teal'c's Ogerpon, likely the Teal'c's Ogerpon. With Pheasant ability doesn't make sense at this point in time. He just hand attaches 1 fighting energy to the back Raging Bolt, and then follows with the Squawk and Seize. So really strong start coming up from Benjamin here. Curious to see whether or not we will see the Nest Ball being played. We see the Pokestop being played first. We see the Pokestop being used first, actually, to find the 2 Pokegears, which is massive. Would have rather thin his deck using the Nest Ball first and then use the Pokestop later, as he's guaranteed to find that Teal'c's Ogerpon first. He does use the Earthen Vessel to find 1 Lightning Energy and 1 Grass Energy, I believe. Wait, he uses 2 Earthen Vessels. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, he finds 2 Earthen Vessels, then he uses the Nest Ball. So he will find that second Teal'c's Ogerpon. He will then be able to Teal Dance the back Teal'c's Ogerpon as well to draw 1 card, and I believe that's all he can do in his first turn. But this is basically the dream setup for Benjamin as a Raging Bolt player. The only question is whether or not he has Sada's Vitality in hand. If he does, then he is all set, ready to go. Gas for the next few turns. Nicholas here has a really good start. He has a Buddy Puffin. Is going to be able to find the Fan Rotom here, as all Terrapagos players want to see. So he's likely going to find the Fan Rotom as well as a Hoot. He is going to be deck checking here to see whether he has all the resources he requires here, in his hand. He finds the Pidgey using the Buddy Puffin. Alright, because he likely has a Hoot in the hand. So that means he is going to be able to use Fan Call to find a Hoot as well as probably 2 Noctowls. Double Hoot. I'm not wanting to reveal a secondary Noctowl. Okay, no, there we go. 2 Noctowls and a Hoot. At this point in time, so he's going to drop the other Hoot that we saw in his hand. So this is kind of the perfect setup for Terrapagos against a Raging Bolt. He does not want to bench a Terrapagos here, because it's just going to be a free 2 prizer if the Terrapagos manages to use Pokemon Catcher here. Oh wow, manages to get the Prime Catcher off the Pokestop, and he's just going to pass, which is a really good setup for Nicholas at this point in time. Raging Bolt wants to take a knockout on the back Hoot to prevent either back Hoot or the Pidgey, to prevent Nicholas from finding too many cards. But the question is if Nicholas has the Nest Ball in hand to find Terrapagos in order for him to activate Jewel Seeker. As mentioned before, Noctowl requires a Terra Pokemon on the field in order for him to use the Jewel Seeker ability. Very strong card. Reminds me of Shady Dealings back in the Sword and Shield format. So we do see Benjamin just use Teal Dance, and then uses the Pokestop to find a Track and Shoot as well as Energy Retrieval. Throws away another Pokestop, decides he does not need a Pokestop, even though he knows his opponent plays the Area Zero Under Depths. So opts to throw away the Pokestop here. Likely trying to dig for the Sada, as mentioned before. No, we do see him have the Sada in his hand right now. So all he really needs to do is just kind of Sada and find a way to switch out here, but he should be able to switch out with a simple hand attachment. No, he decides to just use the Prime Catcher here super early to get rid of the Pidgey. Will we see a Sada though? Is the question I have. I thought I saw the Sada in hand. I could have been mistaken. Okay, so he uses the Ultra Ball to discard a use an Ultra Ball to discard away the Pokemon Catcher, and I believe not sure what else he discarded, but he manages to find that Teal'c's Ogerpon. which he doesn't really need at this point in time. So he uses the Ultra Ball to find Tiamat's Ogerpon and then uses Iono. Okay, because he wants to disrupt Nicholas's hands with the Noctowl that he had earlier. A pretty good, I think, call coming out from Benjamin. I'm not sure if I would go so. I'm not sure if I would aggressively thin my deck out this much. Doesn't have too many cards at this point in time, and is going to decide to discard a 1 grass energy for the Tiamat's Ogerpon using the Bellowing Thunder attack. So Nicholas here is in a little bit of bad spot. He has a Noctowl. Oh, he managed. No, he doesn't have another Noctowl. He managed to use the Nest Ball to find his Terrapagos. He is going to shuffle his deck using the Nest Ball after searching out for Terrapagos. I would like to see him use the Pokestop here, trying to find. Oh no, sorry. He uses the research. Tries to find a Noctowl. Absolutely whiffs here. At this point in time, well, he draws into 3 double turbo energies, which is really, really rough. Not what you want to see. You actually see 4 energies being discarded here. We do see the Chorus Tenacity being discarded as well, which is not great. And with his bench fully filled, he's not able to even use the Nest Ball here. So it is looking pretty dire for the side of Nicholas at this point in time. Chooses to sacrifice the Dust Ball, which I think is the right move. Benjamin here is going to be trying to dig aggressively for a Pokemon catcher to try to kill off that Terrapagos that he has on that Nicholas has on his side of the field. Right now it's a 5 to 6 prize cards, with Benjamin being in the lead here. So Benjamin actually has a very clear, I think, route to victory. He just needs he just takes knockouts in the front or opt to kind of kill the Terrapagos, because the thing is that if he kills the Duskull, Nicholas is not going to be able to take a knockout onto that Raging Bolt, as he requires to have a Duskull support in order to knock out the Raging Bolt with the Terrapagos. As I mentioned before, his max damage is only 220 with a full bench of 8, and 220 Raging Bolt's base HP is 240, so Bolt is not going to be able to take not be able to get knocked out with just 1 attack from the Unified Beatdown from the Terrapagos. So we see Sada being used here, and Benjamin going to be drawing out his deck almost in completion at this point. Seeing whether he has Pokemon catchers left. So we saw quite a few Pokemon catchers being thrown into the discard pile, either with Tracking Shoes or with Ultra Balls. So we do see the Iono, him looking at the Iono, probably contemplating because of the Pelpat, maybe because he drew the Pelpat. Yeah, there you go. You see the Pelpat being played. So we do see Asada as well as Iono being shuffled in. He only has 4 cards left in his deck. So there is a world where Nicholas could potentially look to boss stall here. But with the Iono being shuffled back in, I think the likelihood of something like that is very, very, very low. Trying to see what the options are. Benjamin uses the Lost Vacuum to get rid of that Pokestop to prevent Nicholas from getting out of the sticky situation here. Nicholas does draw into the Pheasantipity, which allows him to use flip the script to draw 3 cards. You do see 1, 2, 3. You see 2 Night Stretches. Night Stretches not going to be able to do too much with them at this point. We do see a Noctowl in the discard, so he's not going to be able to use Jewel Seeker just yet. This is not looking great because, Benjamin's going to be able to use... okay, there we go. We do see the Jet Energy coming out, but Jet Energy not going to be able to do anything as there's no stadium on the field. So it's just a Jet Energy in a pass. That is so unfortunate. If he was able to use an attack from Fan Rotom, then he would be able to take the knockout later with that Terrapagos. But luckily, Benjamin whiffs that Pokemon catcher, so Nicholas is still in the game. And if Nicholas, the Pokemon catcher, lands a hits, I think it would be all but over for Benjamin. For Nicholas, sorry. We do see finally another knockout coming out from Benjamin, which only puts him into 3 prize cards. But this is probably one of the longer matchups that Benjamin is facing, as he's taken only 3 1 prizes. And now with 2 Bufflooms active, Nicholas has an effective HP of 290 onto that Terrapagos here. And you can flip the script once again. She's not able to find any Noctiles, which makes things so hard for Nick, as he's not able to search for not able to search for anything, not able to move. He's literally been passing, I think, for 4 turns at this point in time, whereas his opponent's just been taking prizes nonstop. So he just uses the Prime Catcher to push out another single prizer, attaches a double turbo energy onto the Bufflin as a potential alternate attacker or a pivot option later in the game. He just passes once again. So we do see Benjamin hand attaching 1 energy on that Squawkabilly for retreat, and then we will see Benjamin use Bellowing Thunder yet again to take another single prize knockout. So this is 4 single prize turns that Benjamin has to take. So Nick is trying to play for his outs altogether, not being able to do much. Deck unusually bricking, and we see the double turbo energy being played there just now for that. For the pivot option that we see in play at this point in time, and we do finally see a Noctowl Jewel Seeker being used, likely looking for a Area 0 Underdepths, as well as potentially, I don't even know if you want Iono at this point, right? Area 0 Underdepths and maybe like a Nestball? Yeah, there we go. The Nestball being played for the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Blood Moon Ursaluna still requiring 1 energy to attack, as its opponent has 2 prize cards left. Does Nick have an energy? He does have the double turbo energy, so he's only gonna be able to do 220. He's eyeing the Briar here, but if he uses the Briar, he would need because if he uses the Briar here, there's no way, there's no way for Nick to come back from this. It's just utterly brutal, as Nick is not able to do anything this turn, and Benjamin yet again runs away with that win. So there's not much to break down in this matchup. Just unfortunately, Tarapago is just bricking right here, not being able to do too much, and Benjamin just being able to take a knockout every single turn. Even the boss stall was not able to do anything. So and I think they're just looking at how potentially the game would resolve, but I think there's just no way to complete this game for Nicholas. So with that being said, we will go over to game 4 of the Bricks Play Great Ball League. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome to round number 4 of the Great Ball League that happened at Bricks Play. Here we see Benjamin once again, as well as Hiro Yuki, playing Tarapago's Charizard. This deck was recently featured, I believe, in the ALAIC, where it was really, no one would have thought about this, right? And we definitely trust the Latin Americans to kind of think of this idea where you could pair Zard with basically anything. They love to Charizard, and Charizard is probably one of the better cards, one of the best cards in the format right now. Right, so how this deck works is that Harapagos is meant to help you with your early game damage to kind of chip away, and then Zard would swoop in with the high damage, as with less prize cards. With your opponents having less prize cards, you're doing more damage, right, with the Burning Darkness ability. So Tarapagos, and the thing is that Tarapagos typically is played with double turbo energy, so you're kind of cutting off the damage a little bit by having only 220 damage. But with Charizard in play, you're actually able to charge 2 energies to the Tarapagos and 1 energy to yourself, so you can actually attack with the full 240 damage that Tarapagos can do, which is actually really good into this matchup. As 240, it would be just nice to kill off a Raging Bolt. So Raging Bolt being heavily disadvantaged in this specific version of Pagos, and Pagos starting first is only spelling really misfortunes, a lot of misfortunes, I think, for Benjamin, as with the Terrapagos you're actually able to find the Noctowl, starting first you're able to find the Noctowl on your first attacking turn, which will then allow you to find things like an Arven, or things like a Rare Candy, or things like Rare Candy Featherball for the Pidgeot. So it allows Pagazar to actually start up the engine, really accelerate the engine quite significantly at this point of time. So Fan Call being used, see 2 Rotoms, So we see two tweets as well as a Pidgey being found from the fan call, which tells me that Hiroyuki has that Noctowl in his hand. He does bench a Pogo so early with a fire energy. The question is, does he get punished? I mean, no Charmanders in the board is not what you want to see coming out from Pagazard, which explains why he's benching the Tarpagos slightly earlier, as he's afraid that he's not going to be able to actually attack next turn, as he's looking potentially for a double attachment onto this Pagos. But the issue here is that with the one fire energy, he still needs to play that switch in order for the Pagos to go into the active spot. And the thing is that if Benjamin actually has everything that he needs, he's actually going to be able to switch out, Gus out that Pagos from the bench to the front and just take a knockout and put Hiroyuki 2 prizes behind, which is not what we want to see when you're actually playing this Pagos Zod. But the question is that you're gambling that Benjamin is not going to be able to find everything, as he does have a Teal Musk start instead of a Bolt start here. Or maybe even better with like a Squawkabilly start. So right here we see concealed cards being used. He does draw, I believe, that Raging Bolt as well as Teal Mask. So the question is if he has any more energies to kind of continue on with the engine. So we see Benjamin contemplating a little bit here. I do want to mention as well that I'm not super familiar with the Pagos Zard list, but if he does run that Radiant Zard, right, this, like, honestly, Benjamin needs to play really tightly here. But we do see a switch card being used. The Raging Bolt is going to be put to the front. We do see Squawk and Seize as well. Throwing away basically nothing, drawing 6 cards. Tracking Shoes being used to look at the top card, throwing away that Pokestop for another Pokestop actually. So Pokestop being used here. Gonna discard top 3 cards. He likely gonna find. He is gonna find the Earthen Vessel, which is beautiful. I'm going to be using that Earthen Vessel to discard away another Teal Musk Ogerpon. His bench is basically full, so that Teal Musk Ogerpon is not going to be super useful at this point in time. Managed to find a Fighting Energy as well as a Grass Energy, so we'll likely see a Teal Dance attached to the front to the front Raging Bolt, and then we will maybe see Sada. Sorry, so we only see the energy attachment if he drew into that Sada. It seems like because he's thinking for quite a bit, he will choose not to attack. He seems like he's not going to actually be able to attack this turn, right? So he is looking at his options at this point in time. Opts to attach to the front Raging Bolt. So are we going to see Burst Roar here? Potentially. He does use the boss's orders and he just passes. He doesn't use the Burst Roar, so it's telling me that he has an important card in his hand that he doesn't want to get rid of. But this provides such a huge opportunity to Hiroyuki, as he was going to switch out his Terrapagos anyways. This is strange. But here, so we do see Hiroyuki just managing to evolve his Hoot into his Noctowl, so activates Jewel Seeker. The Jewel Seeker being able to find the red candy as well as the Ultra Ball, so that means that the Ultra Ball will be used to find Pidgeot later on. So Ultra Ball discarding away the Briar as well as the Turo. We do see the Pidgeot being evolved this turn, so Quick Search is online. We will likely just see Quick Search being used potentially for a... Oh, sorry, we do see Research being thrown down. So he has a fresh set of cards in his hand. I would like to have seen Area Zero being played there instead of the Buddy Buddy Poffin first, because it allows you to use Area Zero and then Buddy Buddy Poffin, so it fills up your bench even more, right? So we do see Buddy Poffin being used to find a single Charmander. Quick Search is currently being activated. Hiroyuki weighing his options, seeing what card that he can use. Once again, for viewers that don't know, Quick Search allows you to search any card from your deck once per turn. This effect is not stackable, so it means that if you have 2 Pidgeots, you can still only use it once. It looked like he picked up a Research. I could be wrong. Okay, no, it seems like that Area Zero Under Depth was the card that he played. So you see, that was a slight mis-sequence, because the thing is that if he had used Area Zero Under Depth first and then used the Buddy Buddy Puffin, he would have been able to have one more Pokemon on his bench, which is one less thing for him to find, due to, and be able to take a knockout. You just see a hand attachment and a pass from Hiroyuki. I am a little bit confused at this point in time. Both players just whiffing attacks non-stop, which is unfortunate. So we see Benjamin using Nest Ball right now to find a Pheasantipity. Area Zero Under Depth also working for Benjamin, as Teal Mouse Ogerpon is a terrestrialized Pokemon. So Benjamin, being able to fill up, decides to put down the Pheasantipity prematurely to ensure that he will ensure that he has that on his bench when he and he can use it as and when his Raging Bolt gets knocked out. But this isn't super great, because I mean, the thing is, you will typically want to only put Pheasantipity down when you can use the script ability. If not, he can just be gusted out and is free to prizer for the side of Benjamin. I'm sorry, for the side of Hiroyuki, sorry. Another Teal Dance being used. And are we really going to see a whip on attack? No, that can't be right. Alright, so Area Zero Under Depth does get used. Hiroyuki chooses to discard away the Noctowl, and Squawkabilly being discarded away for Benjamin. Smart play if he had that focus up earlier on. Allows him to get rid of his lower HP Pokemon. Yes, you're putting another 2 prices down, but definitely Pheasantipity is has more value than the Squawkabilly at this point in time. Has more HP as well, so we do see Pokestop being used, throwing away, getting the Pokemon Catcher, which is very valuable here. Trying to pull out the Terrapagos, I believe. So that is a tail, so Pokemon Catcher does not get activated. We do see the Prime Catcher instead. Prime Catcher pulling out that Pidgeot EX, so we do see a hand attachment with of that Lightning Energy to the Raging Bolt, and you just can see a Bellowing Thunder for 4 energies to kill off that Pidgeot EX. Charmander being promoted here. We do expect to see a not Radiant, but Charizard EX being found here. It seems like he's... Oh, no, there we go. That's the Charizard EX, which I said. The Rare Candy is likely going to be used, evolving the Charmander into the Charizard. No, oh wow, he uses the Night Charger to pick up the Noctowl to use Activate Jewel Seeker yet again. We see Super Rod as well as the Nest Ball, so Nest Ball, Super Rod be shuffling that 2 fire energies as well as the Radiant Zard. Nest Ball finding that Radiant Zard ahead of time. We see Red Candy evolving that Charizard EX, and we do see the Radiant Zard being charged up already as a backup attacker. So we do see Jamming Tower being activated, Iono to refresh his hand as well as to shuffle Benjamin's head to the bottom of the deck. And this is likely just going to be a Burning Darkness or knockout, as Benjamin has already taken 2 prizes, so Charizard is doing 240 damage. So easily taking out that Raging Bolt. So we do see Benjamin promoting that Teal Mouse Ogerpon. Teal Mouse Ogerpon is a grass type, and because Charizard is Terra Dark, it means that he is weak to grass. So all Benjamin needs to do is attack with this Teal Mouse Ogerpon. He just needs to hand attach 1 grass energy and Teal Dance the second one. This is what he was preparing for when he discarded the energies earlier with the Bellowing Thunder. We see him find 2 cards with that Earthen Vessel, finds with that 1 grass energy, uses Teal Dance. He still needs to find that 1 more grass energy. Will he have to retrieve all the draw grass energy from his deck? We do see Night Structure being used, so that is that last energy that he needs for the Myriad Leaf Shower. If you take a KO onto this Radiant into this Charizard EX here, Benjamin having access to almost everything, almost his entire deck. Will Benjamin be able to take a knockout here? I think Benjamin is going to be able to take the knockout, but will he have a backup option? That's the question, because the Radiant Zard is ready to attack once this Charizard EX gets knocked out. We do see Palpat being used. Benjamin only has 3 cards left in his deck. I believe he shuffled in the Iono as well as the Boss's Orders, which will give him access to the game-winning play next turn, especially with his bolts being charged up at this point in time. We do see a Lost Vacuum being used to discard away that Pokestop. And yep, we just see the Radiant Charizard being put on the field right now. He is going to be able to take that knockout onto that Teal Mask Ogerpon. We do see Thornton very, very early on. Thornton, he's weighing his options right now. Puts a Hoot Hoot. Interesting. There isn't a Terra Pokemon on the field right now, but keep in mind that the Charmander can become a Charizard EX, which is a Terra Pokemon. So he will be able to activate the Hoot Hoot with the Charizard EX on the board. So we see the him picking up the Noctowl in preparation for next turn with that Charizard EX, but and he just takes a knockout. But we do know that Benjamin shuffled the Iono into the deck, so if Benjamin has the Iono and the Iono sticks, that is going to be game. We see the hand attachment onto that Raging Bolt. Benjamin weighing his options, whether he wants to thin out his deck any further before playing that Iono. He does play the Iono, so that means that Hiroyuki's whole hand is going to the bottom of his deck, and both players are just going to draw through cards. But Benjamin is in a commanding position here, as Hiroyuki needs so much. He needs a Rare Candy. Actually, no, he doesn't really need too much. He just needs a Rare Candy Zard. But if that was in his hand earlier, I believe that would be it. But at this point in time, time has been called, I believe. So players are currently discussing really quickly how they want to proceed this match, whether or not they want to continue, because the thing is that if they continue this match, it will result in the double game loss, which is not great for both players. But I will let you know that I think the match does, and Hiroyuki ends up giving the match over to Benjamin. And welcome back to the last round of the Bricks Play Great Ball League. So this is going to be the final match. Once again, we have Benjamin playing his Raging Bolt, as well as Junhao playing the Regidrago. Junhao, once again, a familiar name in the Singapore scene, one of the world's representatives that went to Hawaii, Honolulu, earlier this year in August. So Junhao will be piloting the Regidrago deck, the deck that carried him, or that he played during Worlds, and Regidrago does start first, so he does have the Regidrago V as well as the Fire Energy. Yeah, so he attaches it, uses the Nest Ball, likely going to find a Teal Mask Ogerpon. But whilst he is searching his deck, let's quickly talk about this matchup, bro. So Raging Bolt and Regidrago. Both these decks are 2-prize attacking decks. Regidrago having a little bit more flexibility with what he can do. So if Regidrago is able to set up, Regidrago technically has I don't know. I mean, look, Regidrago doesn't really have a super big advantage because he will have to use Lost Impact in order to get rid of the Raging Bolts, whereas Raging Bolts is just going to be business as usual and being able to take those big hits. Regidrago is going to be heavily reliant on the Radiant Charizard in order for him to take efficient knockouts. So what we usually see Regidrago players do is set up an early Radiant Charizard in order to get rid of the Raging Bolts effectively, right? So we do see Junhao here benching the Radiant Zard very early on, and we will eventually see Squawk and Seize being used, so discarding the rest of his hand into the discard pile, draws 6 cards, and then from there uses the Nest Ball to find the Hoot Hoot. Hoot Hoot being played here is slightly puzzling, as this is not at all the ideal Regidrago board. We see Cleffa being used, we see Squawkabilly EX being used, we see Radiant Charizard being used. Hoot Hoot not being played down means that there's no secondary Regidrago. So if Benjamin here is able to take a knockout onto that Regidrago, the game is all but pretty much done. We don't even see a Teal Mask Ogerpon being used right now. This is potentially wise. I'm not sure if it's planned by Junhao or if it was a coincidence, but you see Tiamat's Ogerpon, if he does put that down, Benjamin is potentially going to look at the Tiamat's Ogerpon to prevent the Hoot Hoot from being played, but that's a very niche play. I mean, I would still rather go for the Regidrago as it's a lone attacker, right? And once he takes out the Regidrago, there's no real threat on Junhao's board. Yes, you have the Radiant Charizard, but you need to use one hand attachment and 2 energy switches in order to bring the Radiant Charizard online, which is really asking for quite a lot here. But I guess with the Hoot Hoot Noctowl, with the Noctowl Dual Hunt Seeker ability, you're able to find the 2 E-switches for your deck. But I'm not sure how sustainable this play is going to be. But we do see Nestball being used on Benjamin's side to find the Squawkabilly EX. Earthen Vessel being used right now, discarding Zada to find 2 energy cards. You will likely see a single energy. You see Earthen Vessel being used as well to get rid of 1 fighting energy and to find out then how to take more energies. And then from there, we'll likely see a hand attachment. And then following that will likely be a Swap and Seize. So 3, there we go. We do see 1 energy in the discard pile. You see 1 more Raging Bolt being placed down right now. We see the Pelpat being used to shuffle the Sada that he discarded earlier. And then we see, there we go, the energy attachment and then the Squawk and Seize, right? So Squawk and Seize being used to draw 6 cards. You can only use Squawk and Seize during the first turn. Your first turn. And we do see a Sada actually. So we do see a Sada being used here. Draws 3 cards. For some of the Sada's Vitality, you can choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon, charge up to 1 energy card from your discard pile to each of those ancient Pokemon, and then draw 3 cards. Very, very, very strong supporter. Pokegear 3.0 being used. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. If there's any supporters, put that in your hand, and then after that, shuffle the rest of the cards back into your deck. Didn't manage to find any supporter at that point in time. Ideally, we do want to see a Pokemon catcher that Benjamin just found with that Pokestop. He needs 4 energies though, so that means Benjamin needs to get a Tealma's Ogerpon down. But well, we do see the tails coming off from the Pokemon catcher, so it means that we will not see that Regidrago dunk. We do see an Ultra Ball being played, choosing which 2 cards to discard. We do see second Pokegear being thrown down as well. So we see the Radiant Greninja being played. Radiant Greninja is likely gonna have. So he's likely gonna use concealed cards from the Radiant Greninja. Discard. So Night Stretcher to find the energy back from his, put it in his hand, and then use concealed cards. So he's going to draw 2 cards, hoping to find the Tealma's Ogerpon maybe. Does not find it, so he just passes. He just passes. But fair, I suppose. I was hoping to see either a Bellowing Thunder or at least a Burst Roar from this angle. Because right now, what Junhao can do, right, is that if he can just choose to knock out the Raging Bolt in the front, which will then put him ahead in the price raise. There we go. Yep, with that TNO V-Star. TNO V-Star, very, very... so you're going to use the Nest Ball to find the other Tealma's Ogerpon. TNO V-Star... very, very, very effective attacker right now into this Raging Bolt, as it's the only way for you to discard in order for you to one-shot this Raging Bolt, and if putting you ahead in the prizes is essential in this matchup, as whoever basically takes the first 2 prizes and is able to continuously take prizes is going to eventually win this, right? So Professor's research to refresh his hand as well as to discard away that TNO V-Star. We do see Earthen Vessel being used, so Earthen Vessel is going to likely find 1 grass, I believe, or 2 grass energies. Yep, so we're going to see the Teal Nuts being used from that Tealma's Ogerpon, and then probably the hand attachment on the other side, so only 1 E-switch is required here, and Cleffa has a free retreat, so it's a really, really good pivot Pokemon. So there we go, we see the Teal Nuts from 1 hand draw. We do see a hand attachment, and then we do see the V-Star being used, right? So that 7 cards discarded Legacy V-Star, 7 cards discarded from the top of your deck, after which you can choose 2 cards, up to 2 cards from your discard pile, put it in your hand. So we do see 2 E-switches being discarded out there. We will likely see at least 1 of those E-switches back into the hand. I do want to see Super Rod, I guess I was gonna say second E switch, right? Because the thing is, a second E switch will allow you to prematurely charge or to accelerate your Radiant Charizard, which is, as mentioned before, your best option as an attacker for this matchup. So Regidrago, fully charged up, ready to attack right now with the Apex Dragon attack. You can actually copy any of the attacks of any of your Dragon Pokemon in the discard pile. A very, very, very strong card, but was super underutilized because there was not an efficient attacker, right? There was no partner, sorry, for this Regidrago. But once Teal Mask was brought on board, everyone got super excited because there's finally a way for you to attach the two grass energies, which was so hard to do previously. So with the lost impact, Apex Dragon copying the lost impact attack, he manages to take a knockout onto that Raging Bolt with two energies unattached to that Raging Bolt. So it makes Benjamin, makes it really hard, I think, for Benjamin to get back into, to do a follow-up attack as there's less energies on the board. But now the question for Jinhao is if he's going to be able to find the energies required to continuously take knockouts back to back to back to back. Right, so we see two grass energies in the discard pile, two grass energies in the lost zone. So that only puts two energies, at least two energies, into left for Jinhao, which is why he opted to pick that Super Rod instead of the energy switch to ensure that he has enough energies to continue attacking with. So Iono being played here. Iono, for those of you who don't know, shuffle your hand, put it in the bottom of your deck, draw that amount, the same number of cards as your prizes. So right now, not too much going on. Benjamin going to be able to take a knockout onto this Regidrago, but all is good as all Jinhao needs right now is actually I lied. Jinhao needs a lot, right? So he needs that fire energy onto the Radiant Zard, and then he needs Teal Dance and a Teal Dance into two E switches, and we've seen two E switches in Jinhao's discard pile, so he needs to draw all of his E switches at this point in time, which is very, very rough. Fails the Nest Ball, it seems. Not too sure what's going on here. Plays a Pheasantipity. Draws 3 cards using Flip the Script. Uses Teal Dance to draw 1 more card. Does not have the attachment of the Zard. I think even... Okay, so he does use the Iono. I think even with... If it's a Grass Energy, right? Attaching that Grass Energy onto the Radiant Zard is going to be very powerful here. There we go, yeah. So, basically, you can't do much this turn. It allows you to draw with the Cleffa. Which attack reads the attack for free, and you can draw until 7 cards in your hand. But this effectively prepares you for the next round. But you do see that Benjamin did draw that Prime Catcher off the top of his Pokestop, so he is going to be able to Prime Catcher the Radiant Zard or even that Teal Mask Ogerpon, right? To go for a simple 2/2/2 price map. And if Benjamin is able to attack you, he's going to be very comfortably in the lead. As mentioned before, this is a 2-prize matchup, right? So whoever is able to take the lead in terms of prizes is going to be ahead of the game. We do see Teal Dance being used. We do see the Prime Catcher. So Prime Catcher is going to pick up the Pheasantipity, which is good because it limits the amount of option and limits the number of cards that goes into Jinhao's hands, right? Here, once again, we do see that structure being used to pick up that Grass Energy. So Teal Dance being activated. Very few cards left in Benjamin's deck. This is a more turbo variant of Raging Bolt. So we do see 3 cards only needing to be discarded for a knockout on the Pheasantipity, and that puts Benjamin into 2 prize card range. Charizard EX is now going to be online, but with 2 very low HP, 2 prizes on Jinhao's board, all Benjamin needs is a Boss's Orders in order for him to win this match. Right, so Jinhao contemplating his options using that Super Rod, shuffling back energy cards as well as the Pheasantipity. Weighing out his options, I'm not sure if... Oh, sorry, so he uses, the Pokestop first, and then... so he uses the Pokestop first,
hasn't used as a super rod yet, right? So he used, I think, the Nest Ball to search through his deck, or was it? Sorry, the Urban Blast to search through his deck. Just use retreats with the Cleffa, and then takes the knockout. So it puts Junhao to left into 2 prizes. So all Benjamin needs is that boss's order. So he has a boss's order. So he is just gonna take that win. It's just what exactly? I mean, which is, you know, basically what we said at the start of the game, right? Whoever takes the lead and is able to constantly attack back to back to back is gonna eventually take the game. And unfortunately, for Junhao, he was not able to continue the attack after taking the first first knockout with that lost impact. Congratulations to Benjamin for winning this entire Great Ball League. You are in a good position so far with your top 8 in Premier Ball League as well as your win in the Great Ball League. So that's all for the Great Ball League that happened at Bricks Play. Stay tuned. We will be providing more content with this Great Ball League series. We have Pidgeot Play to cover as well as Daimonji to cover as well. So stay tuned, guys.